Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 11 o'clock. We said we would schedule this press conference on releasing the survey on our agricultural workforce in North Carolina. Before we get into the official release of the survey, our Commissioner of Agriculture, North Carolina's Commissioner of Agriculture, Steve Troxler, is here. And Commissioner was not able to be with us. He had a Board of Agriculture meeting yesterday. He was not able to be with us at our conference, and so he came by. He's got some work to do in the legislative building, so I asked him to stop by and just say hi to you. And certainly he has a very good perspective on the importance of farm labor in this state, what the needs of agriculture, the importance of a workable guest worker program for North Carolina's farmers. And at this time I'll introduce to you our Commissioner of Agriculture, Commissioner Steve Troxler. Steve.
Thank all of you for being here today. I think we all know that agricultural labor is a major issue with us now, and it's not only an issue here in North Carolina, it's an issue all across the country. And I'm the president of the National Association of Departments of Agriculture, and for about 18 months we went through a process of trying to come to an agreement on what we thought could be a recommendation as far as guest worker reforms in the country. And the first bullet out of that is that we believe that immigration reform is a federal issue, and it should be country to country, and we call on Congress to take action. But what we also are asking for is a workable guest worker program that we can depend on as farmers. We certainly don't want crops rotting in the fields, and we've got to have that stability of a labor supply if we're going to be successful. This is what we decided as commissioners and secretaries from all across the country. And the recommendations that we came up with for a guest worker program almost exactly mirror what the National Farm Bureau has come up with their recommendations for Congress. So we all know now's the time to act. We need congressional action on these guest worker programs to make things to the point that we know we've got that dependable labor supply that we all are going to have on farms, especially in specialty crop and livestock industries, to be able to survive. So I thank you for being here today. Carry this message well all across the legislature, and let's get this done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Troxler, for being here with us today. And certainly most people in the state of North Carolina are not aware that the number one industry in our state is agriculture. It accounts for about $72 billion annually to our state's economy. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, 20% of the state's workforce, 1 out of every 5 of North Carolina's citizens that got up and went to work this morning, owe their jobs in this state to agriculture and agribusiness. We're certainly big business in the state of North Carolina. The North Carolina Farm Bureau is the state's largest farm organization, and certainly we have a rich history in this state, the Farm Bureau does, of serving the interest of our farmers and rural families all across North Carolina's 100 counties. That's why when our farmers come to us with an issue and want to talk about issues with concerns about keeping their operations viable, we go to bat for them. Several months ago, we met with a number of our agricultural partners across the state, and we talked about what is the top concern that we're hearing from farmers all across the state as they talk about profitability, as they talk about their farming operations. And that top concern, ladies and gentlemen, is the shortage of a stable, reliable agricultural workforce in this state. So what we did, we decided to conduct a survey with our agricultural partners, and at the Farm Bureau, we spearheaded this effort. We decided to conduct a survey to find out just how big this problem is in the state and how it is impacting our state's farmers. And today we're releasing the results of that survey and the culmination of that effort. Our farmers deserve a voice in Raleigh and in Washington. And we're here today to express your concerns to your elected officials. Any farmer that is here today can tell you that agriculture, their farming operations, is a labor-intensive industry. And without an adequate supply of reliable farm workers, we're out of business. But more importantly, agriculture is highly impacted by the supply of farm workers available not just year-round. We have many commodities in this state that are very seasonal, and it's critical that we have an adequate workforce during those peak seasons where we harvest our crops and plant our crops. And based on our report and the results of our survey, a large number, as we talk about release this survey, a large number of North Carolina farmers are facing workforce shortages despite the fact that we have high unemployment rates in many of our counties, and there are existing guest worker programs that operate in the state. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, more than 60% of the surveyed farmers, and we surveyed over 600 farmers in 95 counties across the state, 60% of those surveyed farmers have had trouble hiring qualified domestic employees. And nearly 1/3 of those farmers surveyed reported a loss of income in the past 5 years due to an insufficient supply of workers. Many farmers, many of you in this audience today, have tried paying higher wages, but most farmers say these efforts have not solved the problem. Of North Carolina's 50,000 farms, and we've got about 50,000 farming operations in this state, more than 90% are small to mid-sized family operations. These types of farms cannot absorb the tremendous increase in cost of higher wages, and certainly, as all of you know, farmers are not price makers, they're price takers, and we can't pass tremendous increase in cost along to the consumers. Our farmers, many have tried to mechanize their farm, and while we are a highly technical industry with much mechanization, mechanization does not work on every farm. Many farmers do not have the option to mechanize because of the types of crops they grow. We all know that machines don't know the difference between a ripe and an unripe strawberry. And perhaps the most staggering finding that we found in this survey was related to the federal E-Verify program. Almost 1 in every 5 farms that were surveyed, 20%, said that they would shut down their farm if E-Verify became mandatory without a workable guest worker program in place. Understand that. They would shut down their farm if mandatory E-Verify was a law without a workable guest worker program in place. If this happens, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about billions of dollars and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs lost for our state's economy. Now, I feel very comfortable, we at North Carolina Farm Bureau feel very comfortable in saying that these farmers, all of you that are here today, are willing to use E-Verify. You have no problem in using E-Verify, but any expansion of the E-Verify program must be a part of the comprehensive immigration reform that fixes our broken immigration system. It must go hand in hand, when I talk about compulsory E-Verify, must go hand in hand with a workable guest worker program that benefits all of North Carolina's agriculture. We have been encouraged, as all of you know, there's much going on in Washington. We have been encouraged by the recent bipartisan efforts in Congress to make meaningful, comprehensive immigration reform a top priority during this session of Congress. Our leaders, ladies and gentlemen, we're asking our leaders in Congress, and members of our congressional delegation, our leaders in Congress cannot miss this opportunity to fix our broken immigration system. It is imperative that our elected officials understand the unique needs of today's farming and that we provide a workable guest worker programs that allow our farmers to maximize production and stay in business. Our nation deserves high quality, affordable, and safe food and fiber, both now and in the future. And we're standing here in front of the North Carolina General Assembly to remind our elected officials here in Raleigh and in Washington that our farmers must have a voice in this process. The time is now, and let's make an extra effort to get it right. Thank you very much, and I will be happy to answer any questions. If there's something specific concerning the survey, we'll be glad. I'll ask Herb Vanderberry, retired state statistician and with NASS, to take any particular questions about the results of our survey. With that, thank you very much.